Hey everybody, welcome to Speaking of Schmoedown, a sports talk show devoted to the movie trivia Schmoedown. I am Jay Wade, and as usual, we've got our numbers guy here, Double D Dan Delinsky. How's it going, bud?
Man, I cannot wait for 2 hours and counting for Collision, so I'm happy to be here to talk Schmoedown, and I'm also happy to do my first debate with this guy down here, because I hope you're ready, because I'm ready for you, man.
All right, numbers, man, sexy numbers get me every time. And joining us again, Nancy Rodriguez. How are you doing?
I'm great. It's Collision Day. Cue Frozen Beam.
Yes, I'm stoked. I'm really excited for this. And I don't know what I'm more excited for, Collision or our next guest co-host this week, Chris Anthony Lopez.
What's good, y'all? How's everybody doing? Good? I hope everybody's doing good.
I cannot stop thinking about that GIF I sent you the other night. And when we do meet in real life, I want someone to film it because I want to recreate that GIF.
We'll make it happen, dude. It got a good chuckle out of me. It got a really good chuckle.
I can't wait.
I'm so glad to be here with you guys.
Yeah, this is going to be awesome. We got a lot going on. So, and we for y'all who are watching, we will be ending the show 15 minutes before Collision starts. So we will give you a little bit of time to chill and get ready. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and kick it off with the weekly matches because we did have weekly matches. Nikki DiMolanta made her debut against John Hoey. I must say, I went into this match I'll just say it. I have them both on my fantasy league team, so I knew I was getting some points. So that felt really good. But it was awesome to see what Nikki has to bring to the table. And John did great. But, I mean, I think sometimes with couples in the Schmoedown, when you see one before you see the other, I think sometimes it's easy to really not have doubts, but wonder. You definitely wonder, like, can this better half, perform up to a level, that kind of thought. But dude, Nikki, yeah, she knows her stuff. I want to see her play brain fart, her husband.
Andrew.
I kept wanting to say Andy, but I knew that wasn't quite right. Andy DiMolanta.
Close enough.
What did you guys think of that match, dude? It was such a fun match.
Yeah, it was such a great match because, I had the similar feelings like you, Jay, because when I first met Molly in Chicago at Star Wars Celebration, I'm wondering if she's going to be just as good as Alex. And I saw her in the wherever it was called, the building, the room that we were in. I'm like, she was good, but it's like she's not up to Alex's level. To see Nikki really be perfect the whole way through, I'm like, okay, DiMolanta versus DiMolanta is going to happen pretty damn soon. And it's not going to be like how we're going to get Damon versus Damon somewhere in the tournament where it has to be where Alex had to lose the title to get it. We're going to see that eventually head-on Collision. But I wonder if we're going to see it this year. That's my fingers are crossed.
I would put my money on next season, but you never know. Nancy,
Right.
What did you think of this match?
So I had some thesis stuff come up, so I unfortunately didn't get to see the match. However, I've been really excited to kind of see both. I mean, Molly is still great, even though she, maybe not be as good as Alex. But I'm excited to see them step up and keep playing because, they've said several times before, especially Molly, that they're not just wives of Schmoedown competitors or Star Wars competitors. So I'm really excited to hear that she did fantastic in this, and I'm super excited to see how they will do that. If it's within the same home digitally, will they be in different rooms? Will they be in the same room? How that would work. So I definitely want to see that happen.
With this match, right? If Nikki DiMolanta proved anything, it's that Andrew DiMolanta is her husband. Nikki is not Andrew's wife. Let's put that out there now. Like, she came out here and she went perfect in her first match. Granted, that DiMolanta name, something about it in Star Wars, I don't understand, but they're absolutely killing it. And John Hoey, like what you said, Jay Wade, like he played a really good match. It's just that in Star Wars, the second you miss a question, it's like the blood in the water, and the sharks is going to come in and attack you. And that's what Nikki did. And granted, she just got these questions with ease. Getting that steal in the second round also benefited her in the long run. But damn, like John Hoey, good effort, man. But it's hard to fight against somebody who goes perfect. It really is difficult because you gotta meet that same quality. And we've seen that a lot this year in the Schmoedown. And I bet like I feel like every after show has this discussion like every other week. It's like, is there too much perfection? Is there too much? Is there too much? And shit, we saw it with Andrew and Alex the first time, where they went perfect to the max, where it started bringing out the PJ had to go into Chest of Wonders and find those 20-point questions, you know? So Nikki played great. I am excited to see her go in the Schmoedown going forward. And John Hoey, he's not bad. He's not bad. He just went against someone that was perfect.
And I just want to pitch in. I was really impressed. I had the same thoughts as Jay Wade. Like, could we really compare? They have the same knowledge base, but in different types of intensity. And I was really, really impressed. And there's something about the Demelantas, like we said before, that really takes Star Wars seriously. That I think they're going to push the game, both of them, not just one or other. Both of them are going to push each other to push the Star Wars League to another level. And I just want to say fast, I might have found my new Star Wars crush. Something about Nikki, it melted my heart. I think she might be my new crush. That's all I wanted to say. I'll remove myself now.
Frenchie Deluxe.
There's Matt Soda from Schmoes of the North out there. I'm sticking with he and I have a crush on the Laura Kelly. We like the Laura Kelly.
I have a crush on everybody in the Schmoedown. I've gone on record saying that, everybody.
But yeah, let's move on. Before we move on to our next segment here, let's do the next two matches real quick. Lightning Time versus Danger Zone. Dude, Danger Zone is not looking as dangerous as the thought of them was looking when the team was announced.
Well, actually, I watched the rundown this week, and I listened to them, and they basically said that PJ was on there, and he said that the questions were designed to be tougher in the second half of the season. So honestly, that makes kind of sense, because if you have two powerhouse teams, you want it to be a struggle. You want to make them earn that win. And I feel like that was the way going through the whole match, that it was a fight from start all the way to the end. And I'm happy that Lightning Time won, because I got those full 2 points in my fantasy league. But I'm happy that both of them came to play. I'm glad that Danger Zone was actually in the lead going into the third round, so they were poised to win. They just didn't win that 5-point question, which ultimately is the make or break question for those two teams.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nancy?
I love Lightning Time. I was so excited. I want to see them do so well. And then, in terms of the questions, hey, Delia. I'm glad that these questions are being stepped up in the second half of the season. Not because they were easy before, but just because we're going to get, those closer matches, those stronger competition. And so it makes sense to make those questions a little bit harder and makes the game more fun. So.
Right, and we're in tournament season now. I know the next match we're going to talk about is in regards to that, but things are going to get tougher. The league's going to get more cutthroat, and I love Danger Zone. Like, anybody that knows me, they know I love what Danger Zone has going on, and it sucks seeing Ben Bateman with another loss on his record. Not so much Dan, because Dan's the damn singles champion, but for now. We'll see what happens, because Lightning Time's on a roll. Ethan Irwin is absolutely crushing it, and so is Liz. Liz may have some tough losses this year, but Ethan and Liz as a tandem, they're looking to be really, really good. This team's division, as it stands right now, is probably the best version of the team's division we've ever had in the Schmoedown. And just look at the level of competition. The title match we're going to see in a few hours, right? Oh. Corruption and Shazam, both those teams have proven that they can play at a high level, a very high level. And I know my man Dan's probably going to tell me why in a little bit, but I'm looking forward to what Lightning Time has to offer. It just sucks that Danger Zone has to take another loss. It sucks, especially for my Danger Zone shill heart.
well, you can shill somewhere else for Danger Zone. I like the dungeon, but Danger Zone has not won me over. I was won over, like I said, more at the thought of them before they started playing. Nothing against them. They're amazing separate, but like I still feel the same way about JTE and Roka. I just don't think they're a good fit. But the last match of the week here, we had Kemp versus Horowitz. I was surprised by the outcome of this one. I jumped on the Kemp train after her last match. I mean, I jumped on it hard. And Horowitz, man, that dude is a beast.
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised that. The one thing that surprised me the most is that when he missed his Horowitz missed his 2 questions in round 2, he didn't check to multiple choice, and honestly, I think that's a rookie mistake. If you're not sure, don't guess. Check the multiple choice. You don't want those steals because Jen Kemp just stole those 4 points from Horowitz, and honestly, I thought she was going to win. Even when they were tied going into the 3rd round, I'm like, Jen's got this, but obviously Horowitz took the W and a surprise move. But I agree that Jen Kemp was definitely poised to win, or at least from what I was looking at. But I just would have liked to see Horowitz check down the multiple choice. I think that'll be his next match. I think that's what he's going to take away from, so that way he can play a little bit better, a little bit stronger showing.
And we got just a couple minutes left here. Quick thoughts, Nancy and Chris. Nancy, we'll start with you again.
Yeah, same thing. My heart broke a little bit when he didn't check down to multiple choice. I was like, oh, like especially after doing it once already, taking another swing and going down to multiple. But let's not forget, I think he's still back 2 points, if I'm not mistaken, 1 or 2. I think when Jen went down to multiple choice. So, the match did not go the way I expected, but it was a fun match to watch.
Seeing Josh Horowitz do what he has done in the Schmoedown this year, because I remember when he got drafted, it's like, oh, the MTV guy, the Comedy Central guy. He's one of those celebrities that the Schmoedown brings in, and he's shoved that discourse out the window. Yeah. Like, my man's absolutely killing it, whether it's at the press room or in singles. He's on fire. And Dagan, I saw your comment pop up on screen. Is he currently Rookie of the Year? Maybe not. I would say it's Thomas Harper as we stand at the moment, but a lot of things could change going forward. If he does an Adam Collins-esque singles tournament run, then let's revisit this conversation. But I am, and yes, like Blunden, Newman for sure, I believe, because Newman's in the...
I got 1 minute, but before you go on to that, Blunden, because we haven't seen him in a long time, but if he goes back and does some waves, he was impressive as fuck, so don't count him out.
If he beats Viviani, then we can revisit that conversation. But that's like Josh Horowitz killing it. Jen Kemp. It sucks to see her take losses, but she's still a threat in this whole league. We need to keep that in mind too.
Yeah, I completely agree. And before we do announce our the winner of our first giveaway, something that was said there I thought about. I wonder if there's, and we won't argue about it now. Maybe it's another future topic, but is Star Wars a division where maybe people would feel like you shouldn't have a Rookie of the Year from that division because everyone is so good in the competition? I mean, it's like they all kind of are on the same exact level in a way. It's hard to, I mean, I don't know. It like I said, a future discussion. But okay, our first giveaway winner is Jedi DMF. Got your video. Thank you very much for entering. I will be in touch with you later on here this afternoon or this evening, maybe a little bit tonight, but before I go to bed for sure, and we'll get you all of the information you need for your 1 month Patreon at the $10 tier. We are giving away one more 1 month $10 tier Patreon here a little bit later on the show. But right now, everybody,
I'm going to talk dirty to you for a second. Math.
Oh yeah, it's time for double D's. Sexy numbers. What do you got for us this week, buddy?
Okay, so we're going to shake things up a little bit today because it is Collision. Unfortunately, we were supposed to have Frank Janish on the phone. He's my fellow Crusader. I went with him in high school, but we have Chris here. I'm glad, who's also from Northwest Indiana. So
Chicagoland area.
Yeah, you're from the Chicago area, so you're good enough. You're good enough. And fortunately, you don't have to be a numbers guy to have this topic. So since we are going back to in-studio matches and live events, we are going to go back to the old speed round format, which is 5 questions with buzzers. So the topic for today is returning to that old speed round a mistake? So Chris, you are my guest. You have the honor of going first. Where do you go on? What is your opinion on this?
Is returning to the old speed round a mistake? No, it's not.
Why do you think that? Why?
I mean, just so we can avoid like the actual game part itself, technically it'd be a disaster to do in person. Having the one person leave the room or leave the studio, leave the theater for live events, right? Like you gotta have the whole person leave the room, do the questions, wait, have them come back, have the other person leave, wait, do the questions, and so on and so forth. But the buzzer round just adds more intensity. It takes the game to a whole different level. It's fun and how they translated it to the screen with the fast money portion, whatever. But the buzzer adds a whole different part to the game. And I know some folks are probably going to be like, "Oh, yo," but then it's not a mental sport anymore. It's a buzzer. Like, come on.
Okay, so I agree with your points, but I disagree with your conclusion. I do think it's a mistake, and here's why. Here's where I stand.
Please.
So here's how the graph works. So this is for the singles graph. We're going to have all the graphs, but here's how the basic graph is. The original format, that's the old format with the old speed round, that's going to be the filled in circles that you can see right here, the filled in white circles. The digital format scores, all the possible scores that are possible in the digital format, that's these empty circles right here. And if it ends in sudden death, it'll end on this line going all the way up into infinity. And here's the high score for the singles. It's Dan Murrell versus Adam Collins. Adam scored 39 points. Dan Murrell scored 38 points. And it's in this digital format score. And the high tie score that you would need to score in the old singles format would be 32-32. You would have to score 8 points in sudden death just to beat it. Let's move on to IG. The highest score is 38-36, scored by Mark Kanapik. The highest possible tie score is 36-36. Now that is possible. It's only 3 questions to beat that score. So in sudden death, so it's more likely to beat, but you still have to go in sudden death. Same thing with Star Wars. The highest score is 51-51 with Alex Damon, Andrew Del Malanta. You would have to survive 16 rounds just to beat that score. I think that would be impossible in the old format. And in teams, obviously that's the whole scrunched up version, but if we zoom in, the high score is 53-48 with Shazam scoring 53 points. To beat that score, you would have to have both teams score 8 points in sudden death and then get 1 extra point. So yes, I think it's a mistake because you would have to go to sudden death in every single format.
But yo, that doesn't. We also have to keep in mind that the Schmoedown, like, it changed so much between 6 and 7. Like, how would this translate to like us going back?
A live setting. That's what you're saying?
Yes, like doing the live setting. Things would change.
Here's the hook, and you took the bait because I have a new format that has a live setting structure, but gives us the digital formats. And here's what we do. We can keep the buzzers like you want, but we increase the amount of questions to 10 questions. We've done that since the pandemic. We're not changing format. We're just changing the number of questions. Well, we are adding the buzzers. The second thing we do is we add just 1 more question to the betting round. And the third and final thing is we increase the amount of betting points to 4 instead of 3 per question. That will give us every single possible score in the digital format in a live setting format. Because here's the result. So here's the digital format for singles. Here's my proposed format with my new structure. Every single score is now possible. You are not limiting any competitor. You are giving every competitor a chance to beat those scores without going into sudden death, which is going to be equally hard because how the old speed round works.
See, okay, now, do you? So you're obviously you're pumping, you're pushing the numbers. Like, you want the most amount of points as possible, and I totally get that. Oh, but can you go back to your proposed format for a second?
Sure. Okay.
Yeah. So that. Okay, so you keep the buzzers. I don't mind the 10 questions instead of 5. It makes it a little bit longer. We got double the time of that. But
no, we don't, because it's been longer with the digital format because you would have to take everybody out, and it's been going for 2 minutes. With going 10 questions at a time, it's what, a minute? So you're actually saving time with that, and adding one more question, it's like what, 40 seconds? So you're actually it's pretty much the same amount of time either way.
Okay. But just because I'm with Chris here, it takes more time editing wise. If you're live and everything, you have to drop in, drop off. But as a format of the show, it's different, right? You don't edit it out. It's live. You have to press. And it's longer in that sense. In an editing way, it's it's faster.
And to piggyback off of that, like we went to Fast Money as a last resort because we had to.
Yeah.
Because that's what we had to do. And I hate to be that guy, but Christian Harloff said on record that, like, yo, we're gonna do, like, he doesn't like Fast Money. Whatever the man says is gonna happen. And honestly, as a fan, I love the buzzer. And I don't get me wrong, what you're proposing is you just want the most points possible so you can equate to what we've seen over the last year and a half in the Schmoedown. I totally don't blame you for that. But at the same time, the Schmoedown changed drastically with the introduction of factions, and the game changed starting in season 7. The second that, like, because the majority of the season was in the pandemic, and we had a lot of these great matches because we got to see more people, got to be like folks like Adam Collins. Who knows if they're around if we don't see or around as much if there isn't like a digital format to the Schmoedown. But at the same time, we've like the Schmoedown and how it used to be in regards to format and how it's ran. Some of the best matches have come from what we've gotten before that. And yes, numbers wise, we've gotten some great matches since. You mentioned that Adam Collins Dan Morrill match, my favorite match of last year, if not one of my favorite matches of last year, because it was that good. And you mentioned that Dimolanta Damon match. That was spectacular. But matches like that shouldn't happen as often in the Schmoedown for the sake of the people behind the scenes. And it probably gasses competitors, especially in Damon Dimolanta's point. We saw them play a month later, and look what the result was. So with what the points thing in the Schmoedown is, like, you want the most points. I totally understand, but for the better of the game itself, I think Fast Money will prevent more 5150s, which I think is what the general consensus is. We had one's enough. Let's not do it again, if possible.
All right, I'll say that. Listen, I like my format, my new format, and I still stick with it. But I will say this: whatever Christian ultimately decides, I'll be for it. I'll back him, whatever, 100%. No debate here. But at the end of the day, I still like my format because you are giving the people, the competitors, a chance to beat the scores that we have in the digital format in a live setting. I'm at least trying to appease what Christian wants. But if he doesn't like it and he wants to go back to the old format, fine. I'm okay with it. You want
like a happy medium, and I totally understand.
Yeah, exactly. But at least I went with a different direction than just going in a digital format, because that would not work. I agree. Going up, getting on stage, coming back, it just makes no sense in a live format, and it would have editing problems. I get that.
Yeah, it
at least I'm trying to at least meet them halfway. So.
Right. I get it.
But so we have Roxy Stryer on the phone. Roxy, what do you think about my numbers?
You had the sexiest numbers by far.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Roxy.
Let's go ahead and bring Frenchie. Why don't you come out here too, and just help out a little bit. Mr. Thomas Harper, he is on his way. He's sorting out a connection issue with his internet, but I am speaking with him at the moment as we're doing this. He's working on it. But let's just talk a little bit about the I still, as far as what you guys were talking about there, I still think it would be cool to do a booth type of a situation where they're in a booth and only they can hear the question. You know what? I like that. I had explained it so perfectly, like 8 months ago, and now I can't remember exactly what it was, but like a type of deal where they're in a booth and you know how many questions they got right, but you don't know what questions they were. I don't know.
That
Like
sounds
Family
way
Feud
too
style. Like if
Yeah.
if Family Feud can do it somehow, I'm sure they can. I don't know. I have no idea how Family Feud
with
does
their
it.
budget. I mean, you gotta understand that their budget is very limited. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
True. I will say though, the buzzers. Sorry, motorcycle. The buzzers give me so much anxiety when I am watching, and I think that is part of what Christian wants. Though I think he wants that, like, who's going to get it first, and jumping in.
I personally was never a fan of the buzzer because it adds an element of human error. You have to kind of judge who pressed faster. And for me, yeah, it's fun. It's more stressful, but it's kind of like not unfair, but it just doesn't add something. As in the other format, it's pure knowledge, right? You get it, you don't get it. It's not because someone has a fast reflex and says the answer. It's really based only on your knowledge. And for me, movie trivia is based on knowledge, not just reflex, right? And we saw a case in the past. The buzzer didn't work correctly. There was calls of the person in the middle not calling it, properly.
yeah,
So
but they've
for me that takes it off.
But since then, in later seasons, they've got it to where the buzzers would light up whoever shot first. Whoever shot first got the green light, and everything else went red. So I think they fixed that. So
Yeah.
And out of all the times we've had a buzzer, how many times have we had a goof? Like out of all the matches that have consisted
Like
of a
twice?
buzzer. Yeah, like how right. And
I
that's
think it's a very low number.
Even if it's if it's single digits out of how many title matches we've had, how many buzzers we've had in number one contender matches, whatever the hell. Like I think the buzzer, yeah, it all comes down to taste. Do you like the fact that there's a reflex? Do you like the fact that there's this or that? Or if you don't like it, like I dig the buzzer too.
I live the buzzer.
I live the buzzer. I live it so much. But it adds a different type of excitement. And Nancy was saying how it gives her anxiety. I think that, as stupid as this might sound, it kind of benefits the actual production and the match itself and makes it bigger and makes it grander. Like we've already seen how big these personalities can get. Might as well kind of at least tweak the game a little bit with that buzzer and include it. But again,
like
it all comes down to
game
taste.
where you get out a big boss battle and you die, and it's like, but do you stop immediately? No, you keep battling, and after 4 or 5 times, you're dodging every attack, you're countering, and you're killing the guy, the boss. So I feel that the buzzers does add a little bit of an element to it.
I do have a question about them. Because I know there was one match where Brendan kept and I feel like Brendan's infamous with his buzzer hitting, but he kept hitting it really quickly, and Dan's like, dude, you can't do that because it could change which one is lighting up green. So I didn't know because I don't know how those things, the actual buzzers work themselves. But is that a potential error with the buzzers? Like if you hit it twice or anything like that? I don't know if anyone knows.
I mean,
hey, I'm sorry to interrupt. Thomas Harper has just arrived, so we're going to go ahead and get started with him. Frenchie, if you want to drop everyone else off, I bring the man in right there. Hey, Thomas.
Sorry, this is like last resort connectivity.
Hey, you're here. You're here. We see your smiling face, and we hear your wonderful voice. That's all that we need, man. That's all we need. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm not on the hot seat today, so that's good for me.
There you go.
Well, that's the main thing I want to know is what is your day like right now as you're waiting to see who you're going to be taking on for the title?
So Ross and I are going to be doing a play along. So I'm out of town with my family, so just a little bit of relaxing and then get your mind right to do battle. I purposefully avoid any kind of spoilers or anything like that so that I can go into these mock matches as clean as possible and get sort of the game time experience of it. My view is there are a lot of people out there that talk about how they do in play-alongs and stuff, and they're not playing along as if it were an actual match. So I get my setup identical to what it is. I'm not reading the questions as they're displayed on the screen. I'm trying to play it as much under the lights as it would be if I was recording during an actual digital match. And for me, that's about the best that you can do to see where you are, where you're at.
Bonjour, Mr. Harper. Always nice to see you, bro.
Frenchie?
Yeah. Now, I'm curious. You see, you're prepping, you're taking it seriously, but how do you feel emotionally getting closer and closer to that title shot? How are you internally, not just prep-wise?
I will tell you that I'm glad that I don't have the layoff that Lights Out did. That's a tough pill to swallow, to go play one 3-round match in February, and then you're gone. Poof, you're off the grid for 6-7 months, and to mentally get it, because realistically you're not going to sit in full game mode for 7 months. There's just no way. If you say that you're doing that to people, you're probably lying. But if you do that, you're probably going to redline and burn yourself completely out. So that's a situation I'm not dealing with. I took some time off after the tournament and ramped back up. I have a very, very regimented schedule that I keep for myself. Ross has unfortunately been sucked into that. Lacey's lived this for months now in terms of what I do to ramp up. But yeah, I'm getting excited. It's seeming more real, and certainly at the end of the match, it's going to seem really real because I'll know who I'm playing.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how to put this. It's not that I don't think you Schmoedown competitors are lying or you're full of shit or anything. but I do want to say that when we ask this question, or anyone asks this question, the answer is always politically correct, and I think it's bullshit.
I'm sorry.
What about what I said is politically correct?
No. I have a question that I
okay.
I haven't asked yet. Now, is there one of these two that you would prefer to play?
Yes, hands down.
Who is it?
I'm not telling you, but I will say, I think I match up. There is one of these competitors that I think I match up nicely against. I know this. I've studied every second of game tape on both of these people. The interviews that they've done, I don't care if it's on a channel with 2 subscribers with 3 views. I've watched it. I watch their podcasts regularly. I know what they like. I know what they don't like.
Uh-oh.
I'll come back. There we go.
Oh, there
I don't know if I'm back now.
Yes, you are.
Your audio, yes. Your visual, not yet, but we'll roll with it. Go, man.
We can hear you.
Or no, we can't.
We're having a little bit of technical issues here.
This is definitely my connection. So if you can hear me, bear with me because everybody else is frozen.
Let's bring in Hannah in the meantime, and we can extend it.
Yeah. We do have Brandon Hanna here with us also today. Hey, Brandon, how you doing?
Hello. For a second, I was thinking about doing a bit where I pretend to be frozen, but then I was like, no, that's stupid.
And yet,
you would have saw both my heart and Frenchie's hearts drop and stop beating on screen, dude.
If I could do ventriloquism and you couldn't see my mouth move, I'd be like, hey, guys, thanks for having me on the show.
Oh, yeah.
All right, he's back.
Hey.
But we will move on to a Frenchie's Corner here in just a second. But I do want to thank you for answering that because whether or not you tell us who it is, which is understandable, every time I have asked the question, who would you prefer to fight? It's always a politically correct answer, which I understand. But just once, thank you, sir. Someone finally was like, yeah, there is one of them. I'm not going to tell you who, but there is one of them I would rather play.
Internally, those people that are answering that way, they know who they want to play. They won't say it, but they know who they want to play. I'll say this: Kelly and Demolanta are both going to be Everest to climb. I faced a similar opponent in Gold Leader. He's just wickedly sharp. They both are. I faced a similar opponent in Ace. He's just as sharp as them. So anybody that walks into a match like this and tells you they don't have a preference either hasn't done their homework or they're not telling you the truth.
Yeah.
All right. We've got a special segment of Frenchie's Corner right now, and this is Frenchie's Corner, so I'm going to let him take it away, dude. I'm excited for this.
Well, thank you very much, my man. So yes, it's Collision. We got awesome guests. So I said to myself, hey, I'm not doing this alone. We're going to do a team up versus. And today's Frenchie's Corner is pretty simple. Give me a second here. Which division has a harder path to the title? Star Wars, Intergeekdom. And I said to myself, hey, if we're going to do a debate, I'm going to get at least a lawyer on my team and crush you all. So I said we start. Major, we worked on this.
A lawyer. I've got a scientist, motherfucker. Bring it.
All right. His job is to argue. The other guy's job is to find things. So bring it on. Major, we prepped this. We have our arguments and counter arguments. I want you to open with the opening statement. What did you got, my friend?
Look, Star Wars by far is the toughest division to cut a title path. I'll give you one argument that stretches over everything where there is no counter. It is the single division within the MTS that nobody, not in IG, not in singles, not in teams, nobody has crossed the threshold and been successful coming from one of those divisions to Star Wars. And there's a reason. It's because it's really damn hard. Now, it's the division with the most demanding accuracy percentage. You walk into a match like this with a killer IG accuracy, high 80s, low 90s, you're probably going to lose a match. You're probably going to lose most of your matches in this division. With an accuracy percentage like that, you probably win most of your matches in IG. In fact, you're watching two folks with excellent IG accuracy percentages competing for that title shot today at Collision and Saul and Amaru. Now, it's also the division that's stacked with killers. There ain't anybody in this division that's a slouch. You're not going to get anybody to roll over. What's the TKO KO percentage of matches in our league? Like 1%, 2%? Yeah.
And to add to what you said, there's a lot of talk about singles and IG saying, oh, we'll go to Star Wars. But the talk never translates into reality because it's just almost impossible. You can do all your theatrics all you want.
I'm falling asleep over here, dude. I thought like when I hear Jag officer, I'm thinking like you can't handle the truth.
But bro, this is not a movie. This is reality. Now we put our starting argument. Put yours, my friend. Put your money where your mouth is.
And I will defer to my to my professional in my corner to get us started on our side. Brandon Hanna, please let these fools know why they're wrong.
All right. Well, first of all, you're talking about Saul having a high accuracy. That's easy to do when you never play round 3, first of all. Second of all, okay, IG and Star Wars, they're tit for tat. Okay, you got to go basically perfect to win a belt. I would say you got to go as close to perfect as possible. But the thing about IG is that the IG has the more categories. It has that wild card factor where you're just gonna get a 5 that you're like, well, I don't know this. Like, yes, I studied all these movies, but did I watch this one intimate detail of Howard the Duck so many times where I would know the answer to this 5-pointer? Sometimes that just happens. There's more of a luck factor. Star Wars, I feel like you can brute force your way to the top. Andrew DiMolanta, he had the drive. He had the determination to get that belt, and he would not stop. He would eat, sleep, and drink and all that, just Star Wars every single day, injecting it into his veins. And if you do that in IG, yeah, like we've seen, Robert Parker was supposed to be that guy, and boom, he loses the chance. It's like, all right, that was a fluke. He's going to come back. And it's like, boom, he loses to Chandru now. Why? Because sometimes you just get a question you don't know the answer to in IG, and that happens because
that right there goes against you, because to get to that level, there's a lot less chance factor, right? Parker studied a lot, but there's still chance. And then Star Wars, you have to work so hard to get that level, and there's a lot less chance. So it's all about your work ethic, and to get to that level is insane. And I think the Major knows exactly what that is.
Dude, and I think the word hang on. I got a rebuttal.
No, hold on. I'm sorry. No, I gotta set something right, dude. There is way much more. There's far more information in Inner Geekdom that needs to be covered than in Star Wars. Yes, you can fine tune it down better because it's Star Wars and you have a limited pool.
I'm sorry.
This is Star Wars. It's big.
I'm
It's
sorry.
the
Is there movies?
Inner Kingdom is like the fucking stupid planet that Starkiller Base. That's what that is, dude. It is. There's so much. It's harder because there's so much more to pull from. Okay, so yeah, like Harper. No offense, but you're sitting there watching Star Wars movies all the time. That's awesome. But like Hannah's watching what? Like fucking Marvel, DC, Star.
It isn't enough to just watch. You know this. You know this, Jay Wade. You can't just watch these movies. You do me a favor. You can watch those movies 10 times. Walk into a Star Wars match. You will get You will get KO'd.
Yes.
If that's all you do. If that's all the prep that you do, gone. You're never going to win a match in this league. It requires a granular level of detail that IG will never come close to. And the key there, this sort of segues nicely with my point here, because the key word that Brandon mentioned is sometimes. Sometimes you get this oddball question that's really deep. Sometimes you're going to get that Howard the Duck question. That's round 1. We saw that in Damon DiMolanta 2, the first question out of the gate. That answer to that question is found in no study guide, in no visual dictionary. You have to go dig deep for it. The visual dictionary for The Rise of Skywalker does not have that animal's name, the Itobi. So to stump a guy that makes his living off of Star Wars because of a granular level of detail in round 1, question 1, that's the tone of every Star Wars match now, like much less the kind of number 1 contender match. I would say the other thing is you don't see IG matches turning the way Star Wars matches do. Guy like Gold Leader loses on 1 letter. Guy like Eric Whiteley, 1 letter in there. Brandon Hanna, you've lived the benefit in 2 consecutive questions of the leeway that comes with the IG match. And I'm right with you. I'm a terrible speller. I was right with you on those challenges. I didn't think the flack that you took was fair for some of that stuff. It's a fair challenge, but that challenge isn't going anywhere in Star Wars. And I'd be the first to body slam you if you tried to make an argument like that in one of our matches.
Hey, okay. First of all, when you say it with a pirate accent, it sounds like Tartuga. Okay, I'm so sorry that they don't have pirates in Star Wars. Okay, I'm so sorry. Okay, it's different. It's a different level of play.
And that's the point exactly. It's a different level of play, but that difference of level is you have to be a sniper constantly. You have to be so precise that there isn't any surface level questions. So in the IG, there's mixed, right? You have to go a lot of the type of movies, a lot of type of different levels of hard and easy. Star Wars is just you got to be hard all the time, and if not, you lose. And that for me, I would have an easier time in IG than Star Wars, and most people would, right? In general, even if you're a hardcore Star Wars fan, look at Roka, look at Harloff. They're hardcore, and they even themselves don't even know what the fuck they're asking half of the time. So that shows right there that Star Wars is a lot harder to win the belt.
Well, I don't know if it's fair for you to say that there's no surface level questions in the Star Wars division.
In IG, Star Wars category in IG has surface level because you got to, right? But in Star Wars division,
I don't know if the name
there's plenty of surface level.
Kylo Ren's ship is a surface level or not, but
there's plenty of surface level in our division. I would make the argument, and it's not a knock on the competitors because they didn't write the competition or the round. Damon DiMolanta won. 95% of those questions were the equivalent of surface level. Great entertaining match, but it was the equivalent of a Schmoedown home run derby. But that's not the average. That's not the standard in this division. I would also tell you the other piece of it is while IG, you've got maybe 3-4 folks that are actively sort of at that top level and just passing the belt around. And not a knock on you, Hannah, because I think you've got the capacity and the ability to be right there with them. But right now, as we sit here, you're talking 3 or 4. On any given Sunday in the Star Wars division, anybody can make a run. If you were to tell me tomorrow Molly upsets Alex in the first round of the tournament, okay, that's an upset, but doesn't surprise me because I've seen her play.
All right, so we gotta stop it here. But I don't know. I think we did. Okay, you got 30 seconds. Go.
All right, 30 seconds. Of course. Well, first of all, I think it's absolutely, because I want to bring it back to the Parker thing, and I think it's absolutely great, Frenchie, that you operate out of the same kitchen as Robert Parker. I don't know how you coordinate that, but I think that's really cool. But second of all, Robert Parker, he came in, he was touted as the Alex Damon of the Inner Geekdom division. He was like, this guy is going to be the Alex Damon. He's going to take that belt, and he's going to go on for years and never lose it. And we saw first season was his third match, he couldn't do that. He lost because you can't have an Alex Damon in the Inner Geekdom division. The belt changes hands too quickly. And yes, I know we're seeing that a little bit more now because the level of talent in the Star Wars division has increased tenfold this season. But I think it's just, we will never see a run like that in Inner Geekdom at all. But we might see a run like that in Star Wars. And who knows, maybe with Andrew DiMolanta today starting with another defense. Who knows?
Yeah.
All right. So
I just want to state real quick, I want to state for the record, I heard absolutely nothing after that pirate joke. That's when we won, so I just enjoyed the laughter and I quit paying attention.
All right, but you know what? I think we both did. Both teams had really good arguments. I want to know in the comments, who do you think won? So that being said, Harper, we're gonna thank you very much for staying on for this segment. We're gonna move on to talk to Mr. Baby Heel himself. There you go.
Baby Heel Hannah in the house, everybody. Man, I really love that you're a good sport about that and you enjoy it, man. It makes me smile. Thank you.
Maybe internally he wants to stab you with a knife, but he never shows it.
Maybe. But see, Brandon and I got to know each other a little bit better recently. And actually, I'm going to be playing a promo for a new show called From Birth to Schmoedown, premieres this Monday, August 2nd. And Hannah is one of my guests, so thank you very much for that. That's gonna be awesome. But what I want to talk to you about is there's some unfinished business between you and Saul for sure. There's no doubt about that. And he's playing number one contender match tonight. What do you think about this? What do you think is gonna happen in your mind as you're watching this match?
I mean, first of all, I'm disappointed personally that he is getting this number one contender match without having to go through me. He's 2-1. I'm the one on that record. I feel like it's only fair that he's going to have to run through me, but it's okay. He earned his shot. He got there, and Saul is damn good. I knew he was damn good when I played him last year. It was not, a knockout. It was not an easy match. I felt like I was in control the entire time. I was never uneased against him. I felt like I always had that cushion, but he was always right on my tails and waiting for me to slip up, and thank God I didn't. So he is just one of those players, and he's got that intensity and he puts in the work. And for me I pick him beating Amaru for sure. No disrespect to Amaru. I mean, what did he score, like 30 points in his last match? Something crazy like that. The guy has the knowledge for sure, but there's just, I don't know, Saul's just got this intensity to him. And, I will say I did make that joke earlier that he hasn't had to play in a third round since he played me, and that didn't go so well when he played me. So I'm just to see how he performs in round 3. I know I have my own struggles in round 3. It happens to the best of us, especially in this division where you can study well for the first 2 rounds, but then if you get a deep cut in something you don't know, it could be game over. But Saul earned his shot, and I'm rooting for him. I think he's going to pull it off, but I would have wished to have rather seen him meet me in battle instead.
Before we continue with the conversation, I want to say we got at least 12 to 14 people watching and only 7 likes. So if you're watching, you haven't pressed the like button, press the like button, sub, and subscribe. Sorry about that. I saw the stats. I'm like, we need more likes. So go ahead.
Yeah. Jay. Yeah. Sorry. My thought's done. Frenchie. Somebody talk. No.
All right, but
I still have tear. I do. I still have a tear in the corner of my eye.
I do have a question though. Saul, his evolution. He went from being this guy that people kind of doubted but liked his character to one of the most intense players. And I think he wasn't as intense when he played against you. Now, do you think that intensity will go against or for you next time you go against him? Do you know how to play against that intensity?
Yeah, I mean, so the thing about Saul, right? He was super intense when we played. He was super intense in his promo. He cut the craziest promo, literally saying I was going to end up in a graveyard, something wild like that. And even like before we actually started competing. But it was interesting. I think once it was like, all right, round one, question one, go. I think we just both kind of had this understanding where it's like, you know what, like no crap talk, like let's not do anything, quote unquote heelish, during the match. Like, let's just play the game. Let's just answer the questions and see who comes out on top. And I think he's kind of had more intensity, especially like we've seen him get upset for missing one question or for having to go to multiple choice and get the question right. We've seen him kick himself in the middle of the match. But that is, I mean, he's just holding himself to a really high standard, and players who do that, I think, are dangerous. But if I were to play him again, I don't think that would affect how I approach the game at all. And, I think we've talked a few times behind the scenes, and as much as we just want to like get at each other, there is this like underlying mutual respect, I think, we have. But that being said, I mean,
do you think it's going to affect Amaru, though? Because Amaru seems composed. Do you think that Amaru's shakeable when it comes to that kind of intensity, or do you think he's going to hold his own?
I think Amaru, I think you described it well. He is calm, cool, and collected. And I don't think, people always talk about like the lights of the Schmoedown figuratively and sometimes literally if you're in studio. I think that so far in the digital era has not affected Amaru in the slightest bit. He just goes up there, he writes his answers in almost illegible, beautiful cursive that is just like, he's just like la di da di da, yeah, I know this. and no big deal. And it's tough to beat players who like that, who don't get shaken. So it's gonna come down to, it's like Amaru, I think, is just gonna have to get questions he doesn't know the answers to. Which we have like seen in his first match against Jesse Swift. There was a couple questions in there that I think got him, but his match against Haas was I felt like a significant improvement very quickly, which makes players like that are incredibly dangerous. You look at Chandru, him and I made our debuts against one another, and he was good and I was good, and I was a little bit better that day. And then the next time we played, he got twice as good. And the next time we played, he was 3 times as good. And then we never played again, and he went on to win a championship. And now he's like, you just beat Robert Parker, the guy who supposedly can never miss a question. And no disrespect to Robert Parker at all. But, it's like players like Chandru, and you could see a similar trend with someone like Amaru coming in, having a good match, and then, he just had a really good match. It's like, what's he going to do next? And so I think we're just going to have to wait and see.
I got 2 things here. One, Chandru, it's all in the hair. I've given my theory before. His hair has gotten longer as time has gone, and as time has gone by, he's gotten nothing but more powerful. And I want to say, you said something, if you play Saul again, dude, there is no if. Okay, here's the only if in this situation that I see. If this is not made into a great rivalry for the future, then that would be a shame. But absolutely, you're going to be playing Saul again, dude, for sure. I'd be willing to. I've never talked to him about it, but I'd be willing to bet that he'd love to kick your ass around the Schmoedown ring.
Personally, I think Brandon and Saul has the best current rivalry in IG. You got like Cal Nassi and Crusher back in the day, but current storyline, current rivalry, no match. It's really Brandon and Saul, because these guys feed off each other. There's this camaraderie of like wanting to jab each other in your own ways that we haven't seen this season in anyone else.
Yeah, like I said, it's like we want to kill each other, but we also have a mutual respect for one another. It's kind of like when and spoilers alert for Star Wars Rebels, by the way, but it's kind of like when Obi-Wan cuts down Darth Maul and he kind of holds Darth Maul in his arms, and Darth Maul's like, is he the chosen one? And he's like, yes, I believe he is. It's like, that's the same thing. When I cut down Saul for the second time, I'm going to hold Saul in my arms, and then Saul's going to look up at me and he's going to be like, are you the chosen one, Brandon? I'm like, yes, I believe I am, Saul. It's going to be nice.
There is no better way to end this segment than that right there.
Yeah,
Brandon, Hannah, thank you very much for your time. We really appreciate it. It was a great segment, not just this one, but Frenchie's Corner as well. And
which we won, I'm saying. And
like I said, your episode will be on here within a month or so on From Birth to Schmoedown, which I'm about to play a quick promo for. Yeah, thank you very much, Brandon, for your time, and have a great day, sir. Enjoy the collision.
Thank you. You guys enjoy the collision as well.
I'll be working, sadly. All right.
Avoid spoilers.
Yeah, so good luck.
Yep.
Good luck with that. All right. Ciao.
And as I said, I'm going to play a quick promo. It's the first minute and a half of the premiere episode of From Birth to Schmoedown, which is a show that premieres Monday, August 2nd. I'm very excited about the show. It was inspired by Inside the Actor Studio. And it's a way to get a look at these people, at these personalities, their lives before the Schmoedown and up till now. And so here's the first minute and a half of the premiere episode From Birth to Schmoedown. Hello, Kate. Welcome.
Thank you, Jay. Hello.
How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing, you know what? I am doing good. It's funny because it's, I realize you keep saying like, I'll see you tonight. And I'm like, yeah, except for it's going to be day for me.
There's a time change. I actually, I lived on the Pacific time at one point in time for a year.
Yeah.
It took quite a while to get used to. And then by the time I got used to it, I moved back here to Eastern Standard Time. And
yeah,
I had to get used to it all over again.
Yeah, there is a time. I don't do well with time changes at all. I really don't. Like even going to Chicago, it's just a 2-hour time difference for me to go visit my family in Chicago, and I'm just like, this is crazy. Why is it so early, or why is it like so late? It's just yeah,
it's definitely weird. But then you think about Australia living in the future, and then living even further in the past than you, so at least you're somewhere in the middle and you're not on one end or the other.
Totally. Yeah, I did a show with a guy in New Zealand yesterday. I'm like, what day is it? Or I was like, what? And he was like, it's Tuesday at 4 p.m. in the afternoon. I'm like, oh, how does Tuesday go for us?
Yeah.
It's like, Tuesday's pretty good. It's gonna be pretty good.
That's great. Well, the name of the show is From Birth to Schmoedown. So Kate Mulligan, Brandon Hanna, Thomas Harper, Robert Parker. So Rachel Silvestrini, where were you born?
From Birth to Schmoedown premieres Monday, August 2nd on the Jcast Network.
Yeah, man, I'm excited for this show. So I'm very, very excited. I've had a lot of great discussions with those people that you just saw in there. So, and we got well, he's not in here yet. I just noticed that, Frenchie. Did you just notice that?
Excuse me?
He's talking to Frenchie, but
yeah. Hold
on. Uh-oh. Frenchie, we're losing you. Frenchie.
I'm the one who controls the remove and add button, Jay Wade. All right.
But it says show, Frenchie.
I know it's my fault. I've got I talk all the time about how I wish I could get the glare out of my glasses because I would like to wear my glasses. I can't read the notes, and I was a segment ahead, so that's where my confusion was coming in. Nerd Chronic will be here after this next segment, so never mind.
We're good. Everything's fine. That's a great idea for a show, Jay. That's rad.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I can't wait to watch
actually
it.
had that idea to like maybe write the history of and put it every competitor and put it in a book, but you beat me to the punch. Damn you! You took my idea and you made it your own. I'm going to sue you.
For those who do like Inside the Actor Studio, I do end each an interview asking the 10 questions that John Lipton asked at the end of Inside the Actors Studio.
Word.
So you'll hear what's their favorite curse word, what's their favorite sound, what noise do they not like, what job would they like to do other than their own. All those wonderful questions I ask and they answer. But yeah, that's my bad with my glasses issue. I got to figure that out. But we're going to talk about the other two remaining matches from Collision that we have not discussed, the singles and the teams matches that are going down today. In the singles, we got this #1 contender match, Kevin Smith versus Marisol McKee. I tell you what, before Kevin Smith's last match, I would have said Marisol's got this in the bag. I honestly don't know. And I honestly don't know why I doubted Kevin Smith at all ever. He's a director. He watches film. Of course, he's got a lot of knowledge. But I don't know, dude. I don't know. I'm gonna go ahead and say I think Kevin Smith is gonna pull out the victory here, the upset.
Nope.
What?
We're gonna go a nope on that one.
No.
Well, and here's the thing: I don't want to see the Titans win against the Patriots in a playoff game, because then the next game, they're gonna get knocked out right away. I feel it's the same thing with Smith. Like, even if he wins, I feel like Marisol has the better chance to win that belt going forward instead of Smith. And that's no knock against Smith. Like, he knows his stuff without studying probably. But his gameplay isn't as strong. I don't think he has as much depth as Marisol. And I think she has the better chance at it.
Yeah, I think I watched the rundown like a couple weeks ago where they were breaking down whether Smith or Marisol was going to win. And I think it was Frank that said that Kevin usually drops down to multiple choice in round 2. But Marisol is willing to, even though he knows the answer, he just doesn't take that risk and just says it. And I think that's what Marisol is going to bank on and take that advantage.
But that's the thing. That was his gameplay before. To prepare for #1 contenders match, I'll be willing to bet money that they're working on that. He was using that as a safety blanket. Now is not the time for it. And I can guarantee you that Coy's smart enough to understand where his weakness is and where Marisol's force is, and they're going to work on that. And it's not going to be a case on that match. I can guarantee you that.
Well, I'm gonna be that guy. Look, if Marisol loses this match, it's because she lost the match, not because Kevin Smith won. Let's be frank, because look at who Kevin Smith has played. Chris Jericho, former AEW World Champion. The Flirtenflaus, the curtain.
Chris Jericho didn't play all that bad, though.
No,
he did.
But let's review the questions from that match compared to how things have gone since.
Okay, never mind. Let's not.
So Flirtenflaus.
I can see.
Come on now. And then Stacey Howard. Stacey Howard's by far the best competitor Kevin Smith has played. But even then, Stacey Howard if Josh McCouga isn't the king of guessing, then Stacey's the queen of it. So it just didn't fall in her
She
wheelhouse.
also didn't play like her best match. I feel like right. I've seen her play way better than that before.
Exactly. Yeah. But then you now put him against one of the best competitors in the Schmoedown today, in Marisol McKee. What in the hell is gonna look? I get that people love Kevin Smith. I love Kevin Smith. I think Kevin Smith is great. I think he's a great addition to the movie trivia Schmoedown. He's fantastic. But you put him with Marisol McKee. If she loses, it's because she lost. It's because she had a bad game. I will find it hard to believe if Kevin bests her in regards to movie trivia and how the Schmoedown is played. Because how many matches has Marisol had compared to how many has? Like, they're both relatively new to the game. They're both relatively new.
I'll be honest, dude. I do feel like my heart of hearts tells me that this is Christian leading the Lamb, aka Kevin Smith, to its slaughter. Okay, but there are those moments where, like in I hate college basketball so fucking much, but it's the best example of where those underdogs just make this amazing once in a lifetime run, and they beat that amazing team. That's what I think there's going to be an upset, and that's why I called it an upset. I think there's going to be an upset today, man. I think the Lamb is being led to the slaughter, but it's gonna like that trailer called Lamb. There's some shit's gonna go down, and the Lambs are gonna fight back.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but look, let's say Jay Wade's right, okay? And I'm probably going to get, I don't know why I'm saying this, but let's say he's right.
First by someone that I know.
But the thing is, again, he doesn't take this lightly, and Koi either, right? This is not just a normal match. This is a match sponsored by Captain Morgan. This is a match that is, putting himself in a whole other level. So Smith, I am sure that he's not one of those celebrities that just knows what he knows and that's it. I'm sure he takes a bit of time to study and at least strategize. And Koi, what the matches we've seen this week, I'm seeing more and more of his corner talk being so good. When he says, if you're 70% sure, go for this. If you're not 70% sure, go for one-pointers, and that kind of strategy, I think is going to work well with Smith during the training, because that's all Smith needs. He has the knowledge. He just needs strategy, right? And you perfect that game, you can have a hard contender against Marisol. Is he going to win? I don't know. Is it going to be a closer match than people think? Most probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll say that this is going to be a tough match, but I'm still going to say that Marisol's probably going to win because I'm supporting the faction today, so...
See, Kevin Smith, and after everything I just said, Kevin Smith's not a bad movie trivia competitor. He's not. Like, he's obviously really darn good at it. A lot of these folks, everyone in the Schmoedown is. You can't not be good in the Schmoedown. But y'all, it's Marisol. She's the A player of deception. Yes, she is the A player of deception.
Have you never watched a sporting event in your life, Chris?
No, I have, and I get it. I totally know what you...
Dude, the Cincinnati Reds beat the Brewers 3 games in a row just like last month, dude.
You're talking to the Cubs fan, Jay. I don't want to hear about no damn Reds and no damn Brewers. You're talking to the guy who just got his team purged. We're not talking about baseball. We're talking about movie trivia.
Yeah.
And, yeah, Marisol.
Match or Sunday.
Damn it. There's another thing going on, too. Was it teams? The teams match.
Yeah.
You got Shazam is taking on Corruption. Is this a title match?
Yes. It's a title match.
I didn't have that in my notes. I wasn't.
Yeah, this is going to be the toughest match to watch. Both teams are very strong. I mean, yes, I voted for Corruption to win, but it's not going to be an easy time. This is going to be a hard-fought battle. I expect this is going to be going to sudden. Well, it actually might not go to sudden death because we go use the buzzers. It actually might be. I think Mike has the better chance with the buzzers because we've seen him just go lightning fast with those buzzers. So ultimately, what I think is going to the deciding factor is going to be that old speed buzzer round that we just talked about in my segment. So I think that's where it's going to be ultimately decided, not in sudden death.
Could be. I was going to say it could be, but... Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, please.
No, I was going to say it could be, but also, again, like I mentioned earlier, Brendan Hanna, I feel like, is notorious for slamming on that buzzer super quick and getting right answers. Like, I don't think he has, like, a history of missing a bunch and losing points for his team. So, yeah, that should be really interesting. I'm really torn between who is going to win, but I really want Shazam to win. I just feel like, I don't know. I love Bibbs. I love Brendan. I keep saying Brendan Hanna. What is his last name? Brendan Meyer. Thank you. Not Brendan Hanna. But yeah, I really enjoy watching them, and I think they've earned it. I think both have, but yeah, I would like to see Shazam win.
Quality-wise, they're both awesome, and they make both good champions. But I finally want to see Shazam defend a fucking belt. That's one of the bucket lists. We want to defend a belt, and I want to see that happen because they deserve it. As everyone deserves to be champion, they deserve to be defending champion. It is about time. And Brendan Meyer personally starting to, for me, not overshadow, but like starting to surpass his mentor, right? So this is for me as much of Brendan Meyer than Bibiani, but they really deserve it.
I know we have to move on.
I wanted to see Viviani defend the belt long ago, like when he had the first title belt, a singles belt. But honestly, I don't know if he's going to do it. I think Mike and Jim's are going to pull it out. I just have that feeling.
I know we have to move on in a second, but I'll give my 2 cents real quick. Shazam, they have to follow up their perfect performance, the literal perfect performance of a team's match, and have to follow that up here against Corruption. Corruption has all the odds stacked against them, but I wore this damn shirt for a reason. I believe in Mike and Chance. I think that the team's competition or team's division is the hardest it's ever been, and we're going to see that belt swapping hands a lot over the next few seasons, and I'm expecting Corruption to take that belt back today.
Awesome. Guys, we got Nerd Chronic coming up next. Real quick, don't go nowhere, because after Nerd Chronic, we will be doing our second giveaway where we'll be giving away. You can win here in the live chat 1 month of $10 tier Schmoedown Patreon, and then also right at that same time, Witt's Picks, a video segment with Adam Witt, Paul Preston, and after that, LGR Network has got some folks who are going to come over and talk some Schmoedown with everyone. So right now, I'm going to hand it over to Nancy, and she's going to bring Nerd Chronic up on screen, and she and Chris.
There he is.
Hello.
Hello. You look like you just woke up.
Kind of, yeah. As I usually do, I'm a late sleeper, so I went to sleep like at 6 a.m. Woke
Nice.
up like about an hour ago. Yeah, to
I
get ready.
figured.
Yeah.
I figured.
Yeah.
And who would have thought, like months ago, that I would be on a show with you interviewing you?
Yeah,
Not
I know.
Cue
through like separate entities. Like I didn't
Yeah.
bring you here, you didn't bring me here, vice versa.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
which is pretty cool. Which is cue Paul Rudd gif where he's like, who would have thought? You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Not me. Not me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the first thing that I wanted to get into was because obviously I know that you've been doing this forever, not just, in college or prior to Schmoedown. You've been making kind of promos and videos since we were young. Do you remember the first promo you ever made in general, and then the first promo you made for the Schmoedown?
In general, like in my life of editing.
Yeah, just like even for funsies,
Yeah, well, I used to, like when I was in high school, I used to make just like, small like music, like, short videos online, like with like music with like sync to like shows I liked, movies I liked. But I think the first like promo I think to like advertise something in some sort of capacity was just like for our high school football team, like it was like for like the big like football game coming up. But then when for like professional work, I took a trailer editing class in college to like learn about how trailer editing is managed, and even then that was like back in 2010-ish, and things are way different now. So so the fundamentals still stick, but like the process of how those get delivered is very different now. But other than that, moving on to Schmoedown, the first promo I ever made for the Schmoedown was actually for the very first live event that they did, which was kind of how I got involved, which was I went to the live event, which the undercard was the Real Reject versus the Wild Berries, and over the main event was John Roca versus JTA for the big live show. And I was in the audience just as a fan. I just went by myself, just like paid for the VIP ticket just to sit in the 2 front rows and mingle with everyone. I didn't know anyone at the time. I literally knew 0 people involved with the show and involved with the community. And I was sitting there in the audience with my cell phone, and I was just filming with my cell phone like the entrances and like the wins and like the people coming out and celebrating. And so when I got home, I was just like so pumped about it. I went and downloaded a few matches of Roca, GT, the Wild Berries, Real Rejects, and I just cut like very short like 30-second promos for them for each match and just put it up online with like the music synced to like what I wanted and everything. And that's when Christian found me, and he's like messaged me or retweeted me. He's like, "Hey, I love these. Like these are so great." The rest is history. It's a longer story from there, but yeah.
Yeah, that's how you do it. You make them come to you.
Yeah.
Right, and I'm so glad y'all invited me to be part of this little family sesh right here on Speaking of. But Nerd Chronic, I mean, first of all, it's a pleasure to see you again, brother. It's been a minute.
Yeah,
but the Schmoedowns, like I feel like everybody is feeling like the Schmoedown promos are synonymous with the actual gameplay itself. Like, we see the promos hyped up, like we see people tweet them out, we see them in front of matches. It's great, it's epic, they're grand, and like you become such a big part of that to the point where people are like, give this man some type of recognition outside of giving him a credit in the credits. But I want to ask you, for your own pleasure, like what's more fun to cut, at least in regards to actual like promos? Is it the more like story driven ones, or ones where competitors are talking shit? Like, I know that there's sometimes where there's a happy medium, but there's just like, we had to just build a story off of 2 promos or just talking some shit on shows or whatever. So is it more fun for you to hear competitors talk their smack, or is it more fun when there's like the built-in story for it?
It depends on the match. Like you said, there's a happy medium, but it depends on what the match is. You know, what are the stakes? Like, what's the tone? Who's involved? Like, there's a lot of elements that go into like how I form these, like depending on like what is at my disposal. You know, for say like recently we had the Ben Bateman versus John Roca rematch, which was like, you know, a big story driven thing. Naturally, because of that, like I have to tell the story of like where they came from, which is just, you know, like backlog of like a few years of like their, you know, rivalry and their matches and stuff like that. So that doesn't really need like their trash talk involved as much. It's like about 75% of it is like story, you know, beats. And at the end, I can kick it up with like, you know, a finale of them like talking about like, you know, we're going to destroy you, all that stuff. But even then, you know, if you notice for that match, I didn't have that. They didn't send in any promos for that match. And that was fine with me because all I needed were like very few clips of them saying something. Cause like that's when you kick off the end of that promo, it's like you have so many elements already moving in. All you need now is like the crescendo, you know, you need like a few lines here and there. Like I would rather work with like a few lines that I cherry picked from like interviews and stuff, and then like use those rather than having them sending in like usual promos and I can't use most of it because like I have to really prioritize the story stuff first.
Word, yeah. And I know Frenchie got a question. What's up, Frenchie?
Yeah, but I was curious because I love what you do, but I've seen something interesting is every promo has a different feel, a different vibe. Some is more intense, almost like action-like. Some is much more dramatic. How do you decide what kind of tone do you use for a match?
Sorry, it says tones?
The tone, like the feel of it.
Yeah.
Some is a much more faster pace. Some are more slower pace. How do you decide that? Is it personal? Is it Harloff giving you notes?
Yeah. First of all, I like your shave, Frenchie. Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, this is good. But no, I when it comes to like the tone stuff, again, like it depends on who's involved and like what's kind of going on. For big matches, you know, like the tone tends to be a little more serious, like depending on again who it is. So you know, for today, for Collision. All of the matches are pretty serious, you know, so like the tones will be pretty heavy today, as you'll see in the promos. I think the only one that will have a bit of levity to it is Shazam versus Corruption, because Shazam always likes to bring the fun, you know, in their promos. And that's always like a hard balance to find, you know, when like the tones are very serious and the music's very serious, but like Shazam's like, you know, being like goofballs as they usually do. So I try to find the happy medium there. But really, it depends also like what the competitors these days in the digital era like send me, because you know I like to, people are, you know, really creative these days, especially a year into this, with how they shoot their promos, what they do with it. So I kind of want to like prioritize, like see what they're, you know, contributing, and see if like, okay, maybe I'll lean back on like the, you know, overall like editing of like my touch and let them kind of like breathe and let them say. So like, you know, like Brother Lomas or like Video Drew or like Beth May, like these people who have like, you know, really great characters, like that's kind of stuff I let them kind of just go and breathe. Rather than like, you know, try to edit around them a lot. So yeah, it depends on like kind of who's really involved. And you know, for the rookies, I kind of try to lift them up a bit, because obviously I think everyone's, you know, learning a bit, trying to get, you know, get their footing on how they, you know, submit promos and how they carry themselves. And so like that's where I think I come in the most and try to like kind of, you know, prop them up a bit.
So I'll remove myself. I know we're transitioning soon, but thank you very much for answering my question, and see you next time, Mr. Nerd.
No, thanks, man.
So I don't have a question, but I want you to tell a story. And if you don't remember it, I can tell it. But do you remember when it was one of the first times they were pulling up one of your promos on the show and actually mentioning your name, and you were trying to show mom and dad? Do you remember what happened? If not, I can say it.
No, you go ahead. I can't remember that exact moment because, I mean, I know I can assume what happened.
Yeah.
But...
So if anyone's watched the movie yesterday, when he's trying to play one of the first Beatles songs and his parents keep getting up and like interrupting, exact same thing happened with our parents, which I think is so funny because he's such a huge name in the community. But as we were trying to sit down, my mom would like get up and go to the kitchen, or she'd start talking, and Eric was just like, "Mom, I'm trying to show you this. They say my name. It's very cool. You need to watch it." But bouncing off of that story, how do you, do you watch in the chat, like how people respond? Because I know people responding to your promos is in a good way. Like I feel like you get a lot of joy out of that. How do you go about that nowadays?
I watch everything. So as you guys can tell, like I watch the after shows, I watch the reactions, I watch like the chat, just because like it does help me gauge what people are saying. So like that helps me, again, prop up certain competitors in certain ways, helps me avoid certain pitfalls, to even things out. It also helps set the tone for like what people are expecting. So, it's no secret that today everyone's like talking about like the buzz around with Brendan and Bibbs and Chance and Mike, and like how that's going to play out. And so you'll see in the promo, there's like a certain section of it that is like kind of addressing that. And naturally, if that wasn't like a thing before, like I don't think it will be a thing again once we're back in studio. But like I would just kind of like breeze over something like that. But it's a talking point amongst the community right now, so something I had to address in the promo. So that's kind of something like that. I really gauge what people were saying about certain competitors and matches and like the hype of it, like coming into it, especially for if we go into a live event coming soon, if we have the event in New York, what that's going to mean with like everyone talking about like who's involved. So like I like to kind of gauge like what people wanting to see and like trying to give them like a story that reminds them like, oh yeah, this is what I wanted. This is like what I was hoping like that was going to come up.
Awesome.
Word.
Dude, Nerd Chronic, thank you very much for being here. It's been, I love hearing from you every time that I've spoken with you, and also thank you, Nancy, for heading this off. I couldn't think of a better person to lead this one off, and I know that you need to jump off now so that you can go and get ready to watch Collision. So thank you, Nancy, and thank you, Nerd Chronic, both very, very much. I will talk to both of you again very soon. And right now we're going to go ahead and, okay, guys, the second giveaway right now. Okay. So this is, you answer in live chat. What you need to do is I'm going to ask you a question and you are going to answer in live chat. After I ask the question, we're going to play Witt's Picks, a pre-recorded segment from Adam Witt and his buddy, Paul Preston. And then after that, we will say who won, and I will get back with you later on to get everything settled up. But the question that you must answer is what date, not day of the week, what date does From Birth to Schmoedown premiere? What date does From Birth to Schmoedown premiere? And now everybody, Witt's Picks.
Hello, speaking of Schmoedown, it is me, Adam Witt. I am here to do Witt's Picks for Collision 2021. And of course I could shoot this on some green screen, but I just happen to be shooting a Ford Fiesta podcast with my friend Paul Preston, and I thought, he could weigh in on Collision 2021 as well. Right, Paul?
Yes, I appreciate everyone who is listening to the Ford Fiesta jumping over to this show to check us out here. You can go back to the Ford Fiesta once our segment here is done.
Available wherever podcasts are ignored. So the first match we have here is Andrew DiMolanta versus Laura Kelly. I am going to pick Laura Kelly because I feel DiMolanta, he did amazing, but I feel he is much more prone to a brain fart and some sort of nervousness than ice cold Laura Kelly. And once she gets ice cold on DiMolanta, it might be tough. She's going to take him to the end. What do you think?
I can't go with Laura Kelly never smiling. Even if Andrew DiMolanta gets so focused that he has a serious face, he's still going to smile more than Laura Kelly. So I got to get behind DiMolanta for that.
All right.
Have some fun.
For Inner Geekdom, we have Saul versus Amaru Moses. I actually am a little bit unfamiliar with both of these guys. I've heard Saul is a force to be reckoned with. Amaru was an early draft pick, and he's won a match, I believe. But I think I'm gonna go for Saul. I've just heard this guy's fierce.
Yeah, listen, as a member of the Den, I'm going with him too. I mean, he looks like a lion.
That's right.
Saul.
Yeah, he's going to scare Amaru. Amaru's a little guy. I mean, Saul it looks like he belongs in a metal band. He's like, it'll take a couple seconds for my metal band to come answer some trivia questions. In singles, we have Marisol McKee versus Kevin Smith. This is interesting. Kevin Smith, he's played pretty well. He had some early easy matches, but Marisol is going to show him what time it is. I mean, welcome to the league, Kevin Smith, I think is what's going to happen here.
Oh, you said you don't know what to do with this one? What you do is math. It's simple. How many losses does Marisol McKee have? 1. How many does Kevin Smith have? 0. The Smith train rolls on. That's my prediction.
Very nice. Interesting. And we move on to teams. We have Shazam, who the movie guys once took almost to overtime, versus Corruption, who is annoying. So I'm going to go with Shazam on this one. I also think the same thing is like with DiMolanta. Like Corruption has gotten a little bit of luck on their side, and I think it's like they're going to bump up against Shazam, and it's just going to get woken up. I think a little bit that they might have had a few easy rides in a few of their matches. What do you think?
Listen, we talked about this when we played them. I'm not down with Shazam. I'm Team Captain Marvel all the way. So, I can't, any team that names themselves after the Shazam, instead you had the opportunity to name your team Captain Marvel, and go Corruption.
Oh, okay. K-O-Ruption? You don't think that's a more annoying name for a team?
It's my par-e-diction.
And that's been Witt's picks as well as Preston's picks. So enjoy.
Oh, I cut it off a little early. Sorry about that. But yeah, that was great. That was great. Oh, fuck, man. I remember the exact moment I reached out to him and asked him if he would want to do that. The enthusiasm, dude, was screaming through his response via text, via typing. It was great. That was very well done. I love that.
Now, before we start talking about Wiz picks, I just gotta also mention, like I did before, we're 17 to 19 people watching right now live stream. Awesome. This is probably the highest views we got. That being said, only 12 likes. So if you're watching this and haven't liked, comment, or sub, please do.
Yes, and Ryan Christensen is our winner of our second Schmoedown Patreon giveaway. So Ryan, I will be in touch with you, and I will set everything up for you. And tomorrow's the first of the month, so you will be set up starting tomorrow. So congratulations, and thank you. You're one of our OG fans as well, so thank you very much for all your support, Ryan. But what did you guys think, real quick, before we do have LGR in the back here? I'm looking at 3 lovely faces. They will be up here very soon, but until then, what do you guys think of Witt's and Preston's picks there?
I mean, it's basically what we've been saying for the whole episode is that, it's like it's kind of hard to pick between Corruption and Shazam because they are that good. But, I do have to go with Corruption because I think that ultimately that speed round that obviously we've been talking for the whole episode, it's going to play a factor because if you know how numbers work, you put the betting round and the speed round together, you end in an odd number. And that's ultimately, if you add in an odd number, it's going to decide someone's going to be in the lead. So that is ultimately what's going to happen. I feel that that's what's going to happen. So I got to say Corruption has the easy advantage in the speed round for that. So that's what I'm going to do with that.
I know we've talked about Shazam and Corruption a little bit, and we talked about, what was the other one? I think DiMolanta and Kelly. But who do y'all have? Or no, it was Smith and McKee. Who do y'all have for DiMolanta, Kelly, and Amaru and Saul? Can I ask that?
Yeah, I have DiMolanta for my because I gotta go with my number 1 pick. I have to. I think he's going to win, and I think Marisol is going to win. I think Kevin just he can do it, but I just feel like Marisol is the best of a better player than Kevin.
And Saul and Moses?
Saul, definitely.
Word.
Yeah, I'm taking Kelly. I'm taking Saul over Moses. I'm taking Smith for the upset, and I'm going to go with corruption. I just, I don't know. Something's telling me. Yeah, that's what I'm going. So.
Word. I know we gotta move on a little bit, but quickly, I do have. I'm gonna pick. I'm gonna pick Moses over Saul. I like what Brandon said earlier. I like my man has not played a third round in well over a year, and Amaru has, for better or for worse. I mean, my man's 2-0 going into this. Well, hey, Dagan. Like that was crazy as hell. What's up, Dagan? But I also have I lost my train of thought. Dimolanta over Kelly. I have Dimolanta retaining because I want to see Dimolanta Harper so mother trucking bad. So that's what I got.
And with that, guys, as promised, we got three fellas from Let's Get Ready Network here, and I'm not even going to be on screen, guys. I'm literally going to hand it over to them and let them do whatever the hell they want for about 10 minutes here. So, Hambone, I hand it over to you, buddy. Take it over.
Oh, okay. So, since we already kind of talked about it last night and everything, I guess then we just drink. I mean, is that what we're supposed to do tonight? Baby, sure. Captain Morgan's, baby. Well, let me tell you something, man. You got the Dr. Pepper, I've got the Captain Morgan's, and it's going to get flavorful up in here. And I think this pay-per-view is going to be pretty good. I like a lot of the stuff that's going to go on. 3 out of the 4 matches to me are coin flips, like literally coin flips when that goes. The only one that I don't think is much of a coin flip, we all kind of agreed last night, was the Marisol versus Smith match. Like, I respect Smith. I think he's actually better than people give him props for, because a lot of people kind of hate on his schedule, his road to where he's gotten so far. Whereas Marisol's played a couple of more deep-rooted competitors and stuff like that, people that we respect a little more. So because of that, we just think she's going to go out there and murder him. I don't think she's going to do that, but I do think it's like, if you was wanting to bet on one of these 4 matchups, that's the one that you could probably get almost guaranteed money. What do you guys think, man?
Yeah, well, first of all, welcome to the LGR tailgate here on Speaking of Schmoedown. We've officially invaded today. But yeah, we talked about it on the show last night and also on Any Given Schmo Day this week, that we think that this is going to come down. Like, a lot of people just think Marisol is going to run away with it. But I think we all came to the consensus that it's at least going to come down to her having to answer her 3, more likely the 5-pointer, and who hits their 5-pointer, maybe who misses. So I still think Marisol is going to take it, but I think it's going to be a lot closer than people think.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's going to be I think it'll be a fun match because we got 2 great personalities, 2 people I think really good at character work and entertaining the crowd. Really, it comes down to, do you think Kevin Smith can keep it within 5 points of Marisol McKee? And I think the answer is yes. I think as long as Kevin Smith can answer his 5, he's got a shot. The question is, will Marisol get a tough 5? Other than that, I think it's going to be a great match. It's going to be a very influential match because, like, this match could take Marisol out of the tournament if she wins this match and the next one. So it's a fun match. I'm excited for it. And if this is the worst match we have, like the one we're least excited about, and it's the Kevin Smith match, I think we're in for a treat.
Yeah, it's going to be a hell of a card regardless. I mean, these matches are just top tier, like the best you can get. So,
something we didn't talk about last night. This happens in wrestling and pay-per-views a lot, right? You always have the main event, which most people think is going to be the biggest thing ever, but you always have the competitors that are on the card below that. And we don't even know how the card is going to shake out today. So all these matches are going to be free game. What match do you think will steal the show?
I'll go that first. I will say I think it's going to be Shazam versus Corruption. I think there's going to be a lot of fans who think this is going to be a blowout. A lot of people are going to be picking Shazam. I think Corruption, my brain is actually telling me Corruption's going to win, but my heart is saying Shazam. I think it's going to be I think it's going to be an incredible match. I think that and I think it's the most important match legacy-wise, because whoever wins this match, we're going to walk away talking about, are they the next Patriots? Are they in that Patriots and Shire Wolves tier? Like, these are 2 of the greatest teams of maybe this generation, of the post-Shire Wolves generation. And to see them duke it out and just really have this battle is just a treat. And I cannot wait to see who we walk away from talking about their legacy in the positive light.
Yeah, I think that's a really good choice. It's definitely going to be the most competitive match that we see, this main event. I feel like it's going to go deep and might even go into sudden death, and it's going to be very long, so buckle up. But in terms of a match, I mean, I'm a big wrestling fan, so I watch a lot of pay-per-views and things. And yeah, sometimes you'll get a really, really great main event, but you also have that match that happens early on that everybody's going, wow, I mean, that main event was great, but how about that, intercontinental title match or whatever it might be? And I think in this instance, that match is Saul versus Amaru. That's the one that I think I'm actually most looking forward to out of all these matches, just because I'm so hyped on Saul and the Saul show and everything. And Amaru is amazing as well. So I think this is going to be equally as competitive and close. But I think if there's any match that is people are really going to be talking about afterwards that's going to steal the show, that I'm going to agree with Frenchie's comment a little earlier and say that it might be Amaru versus Saul for the number one contender for the IG title.
I think the one that I'll go with is one that's going to be kind of weird to say steal the show, but I think it's actually going to be Marisol and Smith, because I think when that match is over with, I do think Marisol comes away with the victory. But I think after she wins and she literally gets announced to be the number one contender, the next person to try to get the belt, I think most people's going to realize how important that is, right? I think some people already have been thinking about it a little bit, but once it becomes a reality, once there's a female that's going to step up and try to take that singles championship, especially one that you look at and go, oh, well, she could possibly do it. She could possibly take this down. To have that, I think after the victory is going to be, because look, I can't sit here and guarantee it, but if that happens, I just think people are going to realize in that moment how important this victory today is going to be, especially for the women in the Schmoedown. And the great thing about this particular pay-per-view is Laura could actually win the Star Wars championship. I mean, she beat Demolanta the last time they faced each other. She's the reason why he had to go through a longer road to even have a chance for the title that he had to work back up on. And I don't know how much more time we got, but before we get out of here, I'm going to do this Alabama style. That's right. I got my Captain Morgan private stock over there. And in Alabama, when we do shot glasses, we don't do it like the rest of the country. We don't get the little fancy glasses with all the little symbols and whatnot. We do it out of little bitty tiny Dixie cups. You know what I'm saying? I'm about to take this shot right here, Captain Morgan's.
Well, cheers, Justin.
It's sponsored. It's sponsored by Captain Morgan's today.
I approve. I don't drink alcohol anymore, but if I did, I'd be right there with you. Cheers, everybody. It's going to be a good show.
Wow.
It's going to be exciting. I mean, I'm
spicy.
So many things to look at. Like, I'm just excited to see if the Mercs can overtake the Dungeon in the faction race.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something we didn't talk about last time. Like, this is a huge day for the Mercs. Make or break day for the Mercs. The Mercs can either, this is the day that may break the Merc season, or they may, or may make it. So I'm really excited for that. There's so many angles we can see today, and I'm giddy with excitement.
Yeah, and to add on to that,
go ahead,
quickly add on to that, as important it is for the Mercs to possibly take first place today, the IG title match is also important for the standings, because it's the Den versus the Suspects. Whoever that wins that match is going to take sole possession of 5th place, and then has a chance to maybe gain the standings as well. So it's a very historic event. We have a couple matches back in studio and everything, and the first one's back in over a year and a half now almost. So it's a really historic event, and I'm super hyped for it.
Yeah. Here's how it goes. Today you're gonna walk on into the collision, and there's gonna be a couple of things that might or might not happen. One of them may be that Kevin Smith gets some respect on his name, or it may be that Marisol may be going on the road to be the first female singles champion ever. Other things could happen. Laura Kelly could come in here and just lay the smack down upon Demolanta. Maybe it was too stressful for him to face Damon 2 times in a row, and he just couldn't put it together the 3rd time. But maybe Damon, although we may see that he's not as hungry as what he would have normally been after 2 victories over Damon, may realize the fact that, nah, man, it's been back in his head this whole time is to get to Laura Kelly one more time so that he can show her that he can defeat her. Because like I said before, she's the one that caused his journey to be a little longer. Or we may be talking about how Saul's been dominating all year long and dominated tonight. Or maybe this is the first time that he gets a taste of defeat or even a taste of a good battle. Maybe Moses comes out, takes him out, and there ain't nothing he can say about it. And on the last part of that tonight is I think corruption is way better than what people talk about. They way underrated. They've only got 3 defeats. They've beaten some of the greatest teams that ever been put together. All the super teams that you wished would have become champions didn't become champions in most cases because of corruption. And if they were to beat Shazam tonight, just put another mark, just a little notch on the belt there again, because they just took out another one of your teams that you thought were the greatest. Because if they win tonight, they almost have the exact same record as Shazam does, and they beat better teams.
Yeah. What's up, Corey? My co-host in the chat.
Oh yeah, dude. I've been sitting back here watching. I've loved it. Thank you guys very much for being on.
Thank you, Jay. Thanks for having us on.
Thank you.
You guys, you have a post show tonight, don't you?
Yes, we have an after show after the whole event's done at 6 PST. Now that might change according on what they do, because they do have some like things that happen in front of the pay-per-view today. So if they go a little later, then we might have to change and go a little later. But we have Laura Kelly. Speaking of that, we got Laura Kelly. We've got Shannon Barney. We have Marisol McKee, and we have the whole team of Shazam on tonight after the show to talk about wins or losses and what they think about it and all that other kind of good stuff. May even have other surprises, but definitely, yes, hit us up tonight after the pay-per-view is over. We're going to have a damn good time, because we always do. That's what we like to do, is try to have fun. We're not about trying to, blow smoke or kiss butts. We just out there trying to have fun and give you guys entertainment as best as we can possibly do. David and Josh is 2 of the newest teams of LGR, and they've been doing super fire. Their show, Any Given Schmoedown, is about to start coming to the channel. Josh does some bracketology. ESPN needs to look up Josh over here so he can start doing their bracketology for the March Madness, because man, dude, what he's putting out there about just the Schmoedown is just amazing. How much thought he puts into it and what all he does. So yeah, man, thank you, Jay Wade. You've been on the tailgate with us before, man, but thank you for the invite today. Thank you for letting us say our piece, and just thank you for letting us grace you with our beautiful faces.
Beautiful faces they are. I'll be completely honest with you, Hambone. I have been always and forever, since I first seen you, 100% jealous of your beard.
Thank you.
You have the patience to grow something out that massive, and 2, I'm patchy, so it would look terrible anyway.
You and I both, Jay. And speaking of beards, all of this is on the line. If Saul loses, this is all coming off. So just put that out there.
We're barely going to know a difference. But let me tell you something, Jay Wade. This is what happened. One time, I made a deal with the devil because I wanted a glorious beard like you're talking about, right? So, but what I had to give up was hardly no hair on my head.
Man, hey, you know what? This is the first time in a while I've wore a hat, because I shave my head now because I'm losing my hair, and I had to wear a hat because it's in that area where it looks terrible. Because you did that.
That's what I'm talking about, man.
That's what I'm working with.
This is the first time I think I've been on camera talking about the Schmoedown without a hat on. To be honest with you. Like, you got this out of me today. That it might have been the Captain Morgan private stock that I just took a shot of.
Exclusive on SOS, no hair.
That's right, Frenchie. I did it for Frenchie, man. The Canadians have gave us great things like Letterkenny, Trailer Park Boys, and Fake Bacon.
And Rush. Come on, Rush. Greatest rock and roll band, one of the greatest rock and roll bands of all time.
And just to stab at Dagan Fast and the Montreal Canadiens.
Oh, boo! Get out of here, Frenchie.
Hey, we got the collision coming up real soon. So thank you all very much. Let's Get Ready Network. Let you guys go and bring up Chris and Double D, and we will say goodbye to you all for today. Let everyone have a sufficient amount of time to get their stuff ready for the show. But yeah, guys, collision coming up. Star Wars Championship, Laura Kelly versus DiMolanta. IG #1 contender match, Saul versus Moses. Singles #1 contender match with Smith versus McKee. And the main event, Corruption versus Shazam. It's going to be great.
So, yeah, I just want to say thank you, Chris. Thank you, Double D. Thank you, Jay Wave. This is personally one of my favorite episodes we've done, and probably the smoothest, even though it's probably one of the most complicated one we've done with all the guests. This was an amazing content, and I also want to thank everyone who's watching. We broke, I think, a personal record, like I said before, on the number of live people watching. So thank you very much for your attention. And again, if you're not already done, subscribe, like, and comment on this episode, because we really appreciate it, and we give our soul and heart to this channel and to this content, so we appreciate it.
Yep, couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you, Frenchie. And one more quick thing. Go over and check out Frenchie's channel, Schmoes of the North, as well. If you're not already subscribed over there, do that as well. They got a lot of stuff over there.
We got almost a content every day now. We've merged with a couple of channels now. We're trying to see what sticks on the wall, but there's a lot of cool content. Don't miss out our past content on last Thursday. Me digging my boy, and also Ben and Soda. We talked about what will we do if there's a zombie attack, and there's a couple of some wild stuff. We even implemented Schmoedown and zombies together, so that was interesting.
Nice. Well, guys, that will do it for today and this week's episode of Speaking of Schmoedown. Next week, we will have Robert Parker on the show, so be ready for that. And don't forget, From Birth to Schmoedown premieres in 2 days, guys, this Monday, here on the Jcast Network with Kate Mulligan's episode. It's going to be great. So everyone, have a great and safe week, and enjoy that collision. You want to hear something funny? The mic wasn't on that whole time.
No way.
Yeah, for real.
Oh, wow.
So smooth.